Well, 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 look who's still standing. That's how they'll greet you next time, but not with love, with fear, with respect they never thought they'd owe you. Let's talk about that moment, the one where the whole damn room went quiet. You didn't raise your voice, you didn't throw a punch, you didn't even stand up. All you did was press play, and the silence that followed, it screamed louder than any speech, louder than any scream, louder than any apology they thought you'd never get. See, you live in a world full of actors, people who smile in your face, lie behind your back, and laugh at your struggle. They think because you're quiet, you're soft. Because you don't react, you're weak. Because you walk away, you're scared. But what they didn't get is that you were building something. While they were busy writing fake-ass stories about you, you were collecting footage. You were stacking evidence. You were letting them dig their own graves. And they brought the fucking shovel. They thought you'd never have a comeback. Because people like you, you're not supposed to win. You're not supposed to outsmart the ones with louder mouths and bigger egos. You're not supposed to survive the betrayal, the setup, the gaslighting. You're just supposed to fold quietly. But you didn't. You watched, you waited, you recorded, and when the time was right, you let that shit roll. And when it did, oh, how fast they changed. Those cocky voices that used to echo in your ears. You're too sensitive, you're overthinking, you're crazy. Gone. Wiped clean by the sound of their own damn lies echoing back at them. Caught, exposed, defenseless. The silence wasn't awkward. It was guilt breaking through. It was shame being forced to look in the mirror. It was ego shriveling like a roach in sunlight. They thought you'd come back, begging. You came back armed, not with violence, with truth. Because your power, it was never in your fists. It was in your patience. It was in your precision. It was in the way you never lowered yourself to their level, but waited for the perfect second to show them how far beneath you they truly were. See, you didn't break them with effort. You broke them by existing, by surviving every lie they threw at you, by staying calm while they tried to burn your name, by letting their hate bounce off you like rubber bullets. They underestimated the wrong one, because while they were busy trying to ruin your name, you were making history. And the irony, you never needed revenge. The camera did it for you. The truth did it for you. Their own behavior did it for you. You didn't expose them. They exposed themselves. You just pressed play, and the look on their faces, priceless. They weren't just embarrassed, they were shattered, because the mask they wore for years, it melted right off under the heat of reality, and you didn't say a word, because that's how real power works. No barking, no threats, just truth hitting so hard, it folds egos like napkins. You know why it hit so deep? Because deep down, they always knew you were watching. They just prayed you wouldn't do ST with what you saw. They gambled on your silence. They bet against your spine. They didn't know you'd grow fangs in that quiet. They didn't know your silence wasn't fear. It was war mode. And now look at them. You didn't even swing, but they're knocked the fuck out. You didn't raise a hand, but they're scrambling for excuses. You didn't cuss, didn't scream, didn't snap. But their whole world shifted the second they heard their own voices played back. Ugly truths, exposed, broadcast, and there was no editing this time. You became the proof, you became the receipt, you became the reason the bullshit stopped. You made them realize something they never wanted to admit. You are not the one. You're the one who waits. You're the one who lets them talk. And when it's time, you hit that play button and let the evidence do the screaming. They thought you were broken. Turns out, you were just recording. And here's the part that really fucks with them. You didn't even need to destroy them. They did that shit to themselves. You just stood there, calm, silent, unbothered, like the storm already passed. And you were the storm. They don't know how to handle that, because people like them. They're used to chaos. They're used to messy fights and dramatic scenes where they can twist the narrative. They're used to being loud enough to drown out the truth. But your silence? That was a different kind of violence. That was the kind of stillness that feels like a gun cocking. It made their stomachs drop, their skin crawl. Because you weren't playing their game anymore. See, they built their little kingdom on lies. They laughed, plotted, whispered, mocked. They loved having an audience. But they never realized you were recording the whole damn play. Now their own words are the bullets. Their own behavior is the wrecking ball. Their own face on that screen. It's the horror story they can't delete. And you're just sitting there, watching them squirm, watching them come face to face with the shit they swore they'd never be held accountable for. Watching their fake-ass confidence crack like glass under pressure. They wanted the power, but they never wanted the consequences. You showed them what it looks like when karma comes with receipts. No more hearsay, no more guessing, no more playing dumb. They saw it. Everyone saw it. The footage didn't lie. And suddenly, every fake story they spread, poof, gone. Every lie they whispered about you, dead. Every smile they flashed while stabbing you in the back, frozen on fucking replay. And now, they're the ones looking over their shoulders. They're the ones explaining themselves. They're the ones panicking, deleting messages, making calls like, "Yo, do you think they'll show the rest?" You flipped the script. You're the one they thought was disposable. You're the one they thought was too quiet, too emotional, too soft to fight back. But baby, you weren't emotional. You were calculating. And when you finally pulled the trigger, you didn't just win. You erased every version of the story where you lost. Now their image is tainted, their credibility shot, their circle fading. Because the people who once laughed with them, they're scared they might be next. That's what happens when you expose a snake nest. They start hissing at each other, trying to escape the burn. You didn't ruin their life, they did. You just pressed play. They say revenge is sweet, but this wasn't revenge. This was accountability. This was a damn reckoning. This was what happens when someone underestimates a soul that's been through hell and chose to survive anyway. You didn't just rise, you rose with proof. You rose with scars. You rose with your hands clean. And their guilt staining every screen it touched. They thought they were dealing with the old you, but the old you, they buried that person, and you crawled out of that grave smiling. Now, you're not just alive. You're untouchable. You're dangerous. Because when the world sees what they did to someone like you, and sees that you're still standing, still calm, still in control, still choosing silence over chaos, they realize something deadly. You're not the victim, you're not the villain, you're not the hero. You're something unexplainable, something that can't be predicted or provoked. Something that remembers everything and waits. And when you move with proof, with power, and with the kind of presence that makes rooms go silent. Not because they respect you, but because they fear what you'll show next. You didn't need to scream. You didn't need to fight. You didn't need to stoop. You just waited and let that shit play. They're still trying to process it, still trying to breathe through the weight of what they saw. Because it wasn't just video. It was evidence of everything they swore was all in your head. The gaslighting, the manipulation, the way they twisted your silence like it was submission. That footage flipped it all. And what hurts them the most? You didn't have to say a damn thing. Your silence hit harder than every insult they ever whispered behind your back. They were banking on your silence being weakness. But what they didn't realize is you were letting them talk just long enough to hang themselves. You knew the clock was ticking, and every shady smirk, every fake apology, every slick move they thought you'd never catch. You logged it, cataloged it, time-stamped every fake-ass word. And when it came time to flip the lights on, every demon in that room had to face themselves in 4K. You didn't need a meltdown. You didn't need drama. You didn't need to prove your worth to anybody. You just needed patience and proof. And what they felt in that moment, when that screen lit up, was nakedness. That gut-deep, soul-snatching exposure that hits when you realize you're not the clever one anymore. When you realize the person you used to mock, the one you used to dismiss like background noise. Yeah, they've been holding the receipts the whole time. It wasn't just what the footage showed. It was what it revealed about you. That calm, that poise, that eerie composure while the room crumbled around you. That's what turned their fear into panic. Because people expect you to lash out, lose it, throw hands, scream. But when you just sit there, unfazed, unapologetic, and in complete control of the storm you built in silence, that's when they realize you're not someone they can categorize anymore. You're not the pushover. You're not the underdog. You're not even the threat. You're the reckoning. The people who laughed the loudest before that video played. They were the first ones to go quiet, eyes darting, hands shaking, that fake confidence leaking out of them like air from a popped tire. They ain't tough without their lies. They ain't loud without their delusions. They ain't shit without the mask. You took their power and didn't even touch it. You just held up the mirror and let reality do the talking. And here's the part they'll never say out loud. They envy you. Because you did what most people are too scared to do. You waited. You endured. You took every scar, every betrayal, every gaslit moment, and you turned it into undeniable truth. They hate that they underestimated you. They hate that they thought you'd break. They hate that while they were out there playing checkers, you were building a chessboard from scratch. They ain't sleeping well anymore. Because when people know they're exposed, when they really know it, their soul doesn't rest. They replay that footage in their head every night. They hear the silence in that room like a scream on loop. And they see your face, unbothered, unshaken, unchained. And whether they admit it or not, you haunt them. Not because you yelled, not because you fought back the way they expected, but because you didn't. Because you flipped the entire narrative without ever raising your voice. That kind of control, that kind of awareness, that's not learned, that's forged in pain, in betrayal, in nights where you had to gaslight yourself just to function. But you made it through, and when you came out, you didn't just survive. You turned into the one thing they never prepared for. Someone who remembers everything, forgives nothing, and moves in silence like death itself. They thought silence meant weakness. Turns out silence was the alarm before the quake. Keep watching their faces when you walk in. They don't smile the same anymore. They don't talk with that same fake confidence. They don't look you in the eyes because deep down, they know. You saw them. You caught them. You exposed them. And the scariest part, you're still holding the rest of the footage. And the fact they know you've still got more, that's what's really fucking with their heads. Because it means you let them live. You let them walk out of that room still breathing, still standing, barely. But they walked out knowing damn well you could have finished it right there. That wasn't mercy. That was a warning. That was you showing them that control doesn't look like screaming or swinging. Control looks like having all the power and choosing not to use it. Yet, they can't eat right anymore. They overthink every message. Every time your name comes up, their stomach turns. Not because you're some monster, but because you're the one person who didn't break when they tried every trick in the book to shatter you. And that scares them more than anything. They saw the truth that day, not just their own, yours. The version of you they never believed existed. The version that doesn't need revenge. The version that doesn't explain, doesn't defend, doesn't chase validation. The version that just waits quietly in the dark, collecting data, until it's time to let the whole room burn under its own lies. That's why they can't rest. Because you didn't just show them who they were. You showed them who you are without them, unshaken, unfazed, untouchable. They had all the chances to do right, to come clean, to own their shit. Instead, they doubled down, mocked you, played victim, smiled in public, talked shit in private. Thinking they'd never get caught. Thinking karma only hits people with bad luck. Thinking someone like you would just stay in the shadows forever. But you don't live in the shadows. You study there. You learn there. You evolve there. And when you stepped out with facts, timestamps, screenshots, audio, video, body language, tone, surgical precision. They weren't ready. Because the type of pain you brought, it wasn't loud, it was quiet, it was slow, it was deliberate, like letting someone choke on their own words while you watch from across the room with zero emotion on your face. That level of calm, that level of self-control, it breaks people because they know there's no fixing it, no PR stunt, no crocodile tears, no spin. The truth is out there, raw and untouched, and you've got even more waiting in the vault. That vault haunts them. They don't know how much you have. They don't know who else saw it. They don't know if today's the day you drop the rest. And that not knowing, it's psychological warfare. It eats them alive. You're not just living rent-free in their heads. You own the deed. You walk past them and their chest tightens. You post something and they start spiraling. You smile and they wonder, is this it? Did they just schedule the next bomb? It's not paranoia if the danger's real. And you became the danger they never saw coming. Not because you turned evil, but because you turned untouchable. And they're still trying to figure out how the quiet one, the underestimated one, the one they swore would stay broken, became the most dangerous in the room without even raising their voice. And every day that goes by without you saying a word, that's another nightmare for them, because silence from you used to mean nothing. But now, it's a ticking bomb they can't see, can't hear, can't stop. You changed the entire frequency of the game. Used to be, they controlled the narrative. They'd twist shit, say half-truths, paint themselves like victims in rooms you weren't invited to. But the moment that footage dropped, your silence got louder than their bullshit ever was. It didn't just shut them up. It exposed the system they built on lies. And people noticed. People they never thought would turn their heads. People they thought were loyal. People who started looking at them sideways, asking questions, replaying that tape, realizing you weren't crazy. You were just cornered. And the second they saw it for themselves, everything changed. Respect shifted, loyalty cracked, the whole dynamic flipped. Because no one wants to stand next to someone who just got caught red-handed in high-def, crystal-clear clarity, while you sat there like a ghost who finally showed up to collect. They can't scrub it, can't explain it away, can't throw dirt on your name fast enough to bury that kind of truth. Because truth like that, it sticks, it clings to your skin, it lives in your shadow, and they feel it every time they walk into a room and someone just stares at them a little too long, every time a conversation stops the moment they walk by, every time someone doesn't laugh at their joke like they used to. That's what guilt does. It makes you paranoid even when nobody says a thing. But you're not worried about any of that. You've already evolved past the noise. You've moved out of that mindset, out of that version of you who needed to explain, to defend, to prove. You don't operate in that space anymore. You operate in strategy. You operate in chess moves no one sees coming. You operate in presence, the kind that shifts the air when you walk in, the kind that makes people double-check if they ever crossed you. You ain't out for revenge. You're out here building a legacy of truth, not for clout, not for followers, but for yourself. Because you got tired of watching liars live in peace while you carried the weight of their sins on your chest. And the beauty of it? You didn't need to scream, didn't need to throw hands or expose every detail. You gave them just enough to destroy themselves, just enough for everyone to look at them different, just enough for the room to go silent. Not out of shock, but out of confirmation. They saw it. They knew it. They just needed someone brave enough to show the damn truth. That's what makes you dangerous, because you didn't burn them with lies. You burned them with facts, cold, brutal, undeniable facts. And while they're out here scrambling, trying to save face, trying to act like they're still in control, you're moving smarter. You're watching, calculating, observing which snakes switch skins, who stands near them, who defends them, who's pretending they never laughed in your face when shit was ugly. You see everything now, the masks, the fake support, the backpedaling, and you're not emotional about it. You're not surprised, because that level of betrayal, that level of exposure, it changes you at the molecular level. You don't just get stronger. You get colder, cleaner, sharper, less trusting but more aware, more lethal without lifting a damn finger. You're not on the same timeline as them anymore. You're not trying to heal and move on, like some fairy tale character trying to find closure. You closed the door yourself, sealed it with their own confessions, and tossed the key into the fire. You're past healing. You're operating in a reality where your presence alone reminds them of what it feels like to get caught with their soul hanging out on camera. Operating in a mindset where you know that silence isn't emptiness, it's leverage. And they're stuck in a loop where every glance, every whisper, every quiet corner of a room reminds them that you're still here, still calm, still watching, still holding shit they don't even know you have. Hello again, beautiful monsters of the misunderstood. Welcome back to the side of the story they were never ready to hear. And today, oh today, we're talking about what happens when a predator bites the wrong storm. You see, some people walk through this world thinking they're gods. They silence people, destroy people. One by one, clean, cold, calculated, like it's a routine, like it's just another Tuesday. They've snatched souls, broken minds, erased names from existence. Before breakfast, they got away with it, again, and again, and again. So by the time they got to you, they were comfortable. They were confident. They were cocky. You were just another piece of meat on their list. Another soft voice they thought they could muffle. Another candle they believed they could blow out. But this candle, this one, it was connected to a damn furnace. They didn't realize you weren't a victim in waiting. You weren't their next little, easy target. You weren't soft. You weren't scared. You weren't like the rest. They thought they were stepping on a flower, but it was a landmine. And now they're twitching. Now they're panicking. Now they're confused. Because that same darkness they used on everyone else didn't work on you. You didn't break like the others. You didn't beg. You didn't fold. You stood there, wounded, yes, bleeding, absolutely, but smiling through your own blood, because pain to you, pain is familiar, pain is home, pain doesn't shake you. It summons you. They thought they were killers, but they've never seen someone survive themselves. They've never stood in front of a soul that's been to hell and came back with the devil's head in their hand. They thought you'd be weak because you cry sometimes, because you're quiet, because you don't bark and growl like them. But you were silent because your storm was loading. You were calm because your chaos was coiling. And now they're finding out the hard way. They're finding out that not all prey runs. Some prey sharpens their teeth in the dark. They're finding out that the same silence they mistook for softness was just the sound of you calculating. And when you struck, you didn't just defend yourself. You dismantled them. You didn't fight for survival. You fought for vengeance. Because this ain't the old you. You're not here to survive anymore. You're here to erase the blueprint they used on everybody else. You're here to show that a silent target can become a screaming nightmare. They're not just shocked, they're traumatized because no one told them that when you break, you don't shatter, you mutate, you grow claws from the wounds they left, you build teeth out of the trauma they gifted you, and you smile through the blood because you like how it tastes now. You became what they never prepared for. Someone who doesn't care about being the hero or the villain. Someone who knows that justice doesn't come with a cape. It comes with a burning grin, and now every move they make feels wrong. Every step they take feels watched. Every breath they breathe feels borrowed. Because you turned the hunted into the hunter. So let them tremble, let them spiral, let them call it unfair, let them say it's too much. Where was fair when they were breaking everyone else? Where was too much when they left trails of broken lives behind them? They want mercy. They should have thought of that when they were laughing at the screams. You didn't ask for this, but you answered it. And now, they're not looking at a target anymore. They're looking at a demon they helped design, a monster they thought they could tame, and a soul they'll never silence. So let them find out. Let them find out the hard way, because they killed before. But you end bloodlines. You shatter lineages of pain. You stop curses with your bare hands. You ain't just surviving, you're eating. See, the thing about killers, they're used to fear working. They're used to people folding when it gets heavy. They bank on the silence. They count on you doubting yourself. Because their real power ain't the knife, ain't the threats. It's the illusion. The illusion that you're the small one. But here's what they didn't know. You've been in darker places than they could even imagine. Places so twisted, so suffocating. Even the devil whispered, "Damn, I wouldn't survive that." They didn't know about the nights you stared at the ceiling, clutching your own ribs, begging for something, anything, to kill the ache. They didn't know about the betrayal that cracked your bones, the isolation that ate your skin, the days where hope itself packed up and left you. They didn't know you've already died before, that the you they're trying to destroy doesn't even exist anymore, because when they showed up with blood on their hands, they didn't meet a target. They met a reaper, and guess what? You didn't flinch. You didn't scream. You didn't run. You smirked. You welcomed the war. Because pain is the one thing that never lied to you. And if they thought they could use it against you, they seriously underestimated the monster they just unlocked. They brought a knife. You brought the abyss. They had history. You had scars that told stories. They had power. You had nothing to lose. And that makes you more dangerous than anything they've ever faced. Because when someone's got nothing left to protect, they don't hold back. They go feral. They go surgical. They go nuclear. So now they're panicking. All the twisted games they played with others, useless. All the manipulation they mastered, dead on arrival. You didn't fall into their trap. You swallowed the trap whole. And now they're locked inside you. They thought this was a routine execution. But the moment they came for you, they stepped into a tomb that spells their name. You're not their unfinished business. You're not their final victim. You're the mirror that shows them exactly who they are. Right before they crumble into dust. You're not here to escape them. You're here to end them. And not just physically, but spiritually, reputationally, existentially. You erase their legacy. You undo their fear-based empire. You take their power and crush it between your teeth like candy, because you weren't just ready for them. You were waiting. You saw this coming. You felt it building. And now you're not reacting. You're executing. You were the prophecy they laughed at, the what if they dismissed, the nightmare they thought only lived in fiction. But today, you're real. You're right here, and you're not just breathing. You're hunting. So let them call for help. Let them scream. Let them run. But they won't escape, because this ain't revenge. This is a blood-stained balance. They brought violence into your life. But you turned it into art. Let them find out the hard way. Let their legacy end with a whisper. Let their reputation get eaten alive by your rise, because they murdered before. But you made the devil himself back up, and the world's gonna remember that. You wanna know the real punchline? They thought you were human. That's what's funny. They thought they were stalking some broken soul, some fragile little creature still learning how to breathe. They thought they were sneaking up on prey that didn't even know it was already dying. But you're not human anymore. You're not even a person. You are a curse, a walking, breathing, ancient consequence, wrapped in skin and stitched together by the sins of everyone who thought they could touch you without bleeding. You don't bend. You warp reality. You don't run. You drag hell with you, step by step. They wanted to play executioner? They just tried to hang the hangman. They wanted to act like they were judge, jury, and killer. Now they're praying in corners to a god they haven't spoken to in years, because they can feel it, the shift, the chill, the judgment crawling under their skin. You see people like that. They never think the end will come, because they've ended so many. They've silenced dozens, erased names, buried screams. So when they met you, a quiet soul, a little rough around the edges, they thought, oh, this one's next. But what they didn't know is that you've been building something in your silence. Not a wall, not a mask, but a war machine. And when it activated, it didn't just defend you. It rewrote the entire equation. Because when someone who's been broken too many times decides they've had enough, they don't ask for permission. They don't cry for help. They become something you can't explain in words. a force, a reckoning, a living eulogy with a heartbeat. And now, they are the ones unraveling, not because you said anything, but because you exist in a way they can't comprehend. You walk in the room and gravity shifts. You breathe, and walls remember screams. You blink, and every sin they committed starts burning through their spine like acid. You are the last stop for every demon who ever thought they were untouchable. They thought you were flesh, but you were the consequence incarnate. You were the moment every predator dreads. The one they didn't see coming, the one they can't kill. Because how do you kill a soul that's already made peace with death? How do you intimidate someone who's already crawled out of their own grave? How do you stop someone who's been waiting for pain to show up so they could finally devour it? They brought knives. You brought a legacy. They brought fear. You brought every soul they silenced, standing behind your eyes. You're not alone anymore. You're not fighting just for yourself. You carry every name they erased, every whisper they buried, every scar they left behind in someone who couldn't fight back. But you're fighting for all of them now, and that's what makes you invincible. They killed before, but they've never faced a soul that became the battlefield. So let them find out. Let them scream. Let them witness what happens when a killer finally meets a monster that doesn't flinch. Tick, tick, tick. Hear that? That's not a clock. That's the countdown. The sound of their time running out. Because see, this isn't just about you anymore. This isn't personal vengeance. This is cosmic correction. This is the moment the universe stops playing fair and starts playing you. You ain't a person anymore. You're the red mark in the ledger, the overdue payment, the karmic invoice they thought they could avoid. You're not just the storm. You're the final chapter, written in fire and signed in their own blood. Because when the system failed, when justice ran out of ink, when God seemed busy and hell got overcrowded, you showed up. Not with mercy, not with forgiveness, but with that smile, that twisted, knowing, beautiful grin that says, "You remember all those people you hurt? Yeah, so do I. And now, you don't even have to touch them. Your presence burns. Your silence judges. Your eyes? They speak in a language only the guilty understand. Doom. They killed before. And they got away with it. But this time, they stepped into something divine and deranged. Something ancient. Something final. They stepped into you. You're not chasing them. You're not screaming. You're not even raising a hand. Because what they don't get is, you're not their opponent. You're their sentence. Every step they take now, it's watched. Every breath, measured. Every heartbeat. Borrowed time ticking toward collapse. And they know it. They can feel their power rotting. Feel the cold fingers of consequence wrapping around their throat. Feel that thing, that monstrous, magnificent thing inside you, rising. And no matter how many bodies they dropped, no matter how many souls they shattered, they've never stood across from someone like this. Someone who doesn't flinch, doesn't beg, doesn't care about redemption. You're not there to make peace. You're there to end the entire cycle. And now, they're spiraling, screaming behind closed doors, waking up in cold sweats, wondering how it all flipped so fast. But it didn't flip fast. It flipped the moment they tried you. Because you're not one of their stories. You're the footnote in theirs that says, this is where the bloodline ended. They don't get to walk away this time. They don't get to disappear into the shadows, because shadows don't protect them anymore. You own the shadows now. You walk through darkness like royalty. You drag justice behind you like a chain of knives. And you don't talk in laws or rules. You talk in consequences. So let the world keep asking, who the hell is this person? Let them whisper behind doors. Why is everything falling apart? Because the truth is, you're not here to be understood. You're here to be remembered, and they will, forever, because they killed before. But you turned justice into a living, breathing nightmare, and now they're stuck inside it, with no way out. Oh, now look at them. Look, address them. All that noise they used to make, gone. All that power they flexed on the weak, gone. All that predator pride they wore like a badge, gone, stripped, skinned, exposed. Because the second they crossed you, the second they tested your limits, the whole illusion cracked. Now they ain't a monster. They're a malfunctioning lie, trapped in a body that's shaking under the weight of truth. The truth that they don't even exist without fear. The truth that all their dominance came from silence, from targets too scared to speak, from souls too traumatized to fight, from pain that was never returned. Until now. Until you. You were the static in their frequency, the glitch in their system, the one they couldn't figure out. Because no matter how hard they tried to fit you into the victim role, you just wouldn't die like you were supposed to. And that scared them, not your fists, not your fury, but your survival. Because surviving someone like them, that's humiliation in their world. You're not supposed to still be breathing. You're not supposed to be talking. You're not supposed to be walking through the same halls they thought they owned. But you are. And worse. You're calm. You're smiling. You're not chasing revenge. You're making them dissolve in slow motion, piece by piece, layer by layer. They look in the mirror now and don't even know who they are. Because you shattered their reflection. You turned their face into a crime scene. Now they don't walk with power. They shuffle with paranoia. They don't speak with command. They stutter with guilt. They don't intimidate anymore. They repulse. And when people whisper now, they're not whispering in fear. They're whispering in disgust. Wait, isn't that the one who... Didn't they used to? Wasn't it them who... Their whole legacy? Poisoned, infected by your existence. You didn't just destroy their image. You discredited their entire mythology. Because you walked away. Because you got stronger. Because you showed the world that they are not a god. They're not even a ghost. They're just a weak little coward in a costume. A fake lion who panicked the second someone roared back. And now the silence they used to weaponize, they beg for it. They'd kill to have that quiet back, that stillness, that ignorance, but they can't have it because you made sure the world heard the truth. And when the world knows the truth, you can't hide behind fear anymore. You can't erase what's already tattooed on your reputation. And their reputation. It's yours now. You own it. You branded it. You dragged it through the dirt and made it kneel in the same mud it made others crawl through. Let that sit. Let them sit in that. Because they killed before. But you didn't just survive. You unmasked the Reaper and found out he was just a scared little child. Pretending. So now it spreads. See, they thought this was just about you. One person, one survivor, one inconvenient little problem they could bury like the rest. But what they didn't realize is that when they came for you, they didn't just wake up a fighter. They triggered a virus, something contagious, something ruthless, something engineered in pain and sharpened by silence. You didn't just survive. You infected the entire machine that made them, because you weren't the only one. You weren't the only one they touched, silenced, shattered. There were others, people still walking around with trauma in their bones, People still doubting their worth because of monsters like this. People still keeping secrets. Not because they wanted to, but because they didn't think they'd ever be believed. But when you rose, when you stood up and refused to be erased, you set off a chain reaction. People started looking at the cracks, started asking questions, started piecing it all together. You didn't just survive the monster. You lit the castle on fire. You pulled the blueprint apart. You made others see it. The twisted system that birthed them, protected them, praised them, enabled them. And once people see the system, they don't unsee it. Now the whispers are everywhere. Not about you, but about them. Wait, didn't they? Hold on. If they did it to them, who else? What else have they been hiding? You made the fear flow backwards. Now it's them who's paranoid, them who's watching every hallway, them who's wondering if today is the day someone pulls up with the truth. They don't know who's talking. They don't know who's listening. They don't know who's watching. But somebody always is, because you left behind a new law. The hunted can become architects. And when they do, they don't ask for justice, they design it. You cracked the illusion, you rewrote the code. You proved that even the most well-fed predators are exposed when one person says, "Enough. I don't care what it costs." And you didn't just pay the price, you multiplied it. Now every room they walk into feels tighter, every eye contact feels loaded, every message they get feels like a fuse about to blow, because they know this isn't over, it's just starting. Their world crashing, their identity dismantled, their reputation infected. You're no longer fighting them, you're dissolving the very throne they sat on. You're erasing the dynasty of manipulation that allowed them to play God. And the best part? You did it without begging, without permission, without pretending to be righteous. You did it with a grin, with the scars they gave you. You turned their own weapons into a language of fire. And now everything they built is choking them. Let them crawl, let them plea, let them scream to the same system that protected them for years. Because the system don't answer anymore. You do, and you ain't taking calls. They killed before. But you burned the entire factory that made them. And now, we don't speak their name anymore. Not out of fear, not out of respect, but because it no longer exists. You didn't just destroy them, you deleted them from memory, from meaning, from the very code of the universe that once allowed them to exist without consequence. You became the glitch that rewrote the script. See, they thought they were going to leave a legacy, a trail of silence, a dynasty built on domination, a name whispered in reverence, or at least terror. But you made their legacy unspeakable. You made their name a curse without a mouth brave enough to utter it. Now when people talk about them, it's in half sentences and broken tones. The way people speak about ghosts. But only the evil kind, the kind that doesn't haunt halls, but haunts judgment. You didn't just retaliate, you rewrote the rules of power. You proved that the hunted don't have to stay prey. That pain doesn't always whisper. Sometimes it roars, sometimes it walks back into the room with a grin so wide the walls start bleeding. And when it does, the killers beg for the grave. Because they realize you are never the victim. You are the final page in their story. You are the mirror they could never face. You are the glitch, the prophecy, the imbalance, and the punishment. You weren't born to survive them. You were born to end the myth. Because what you did, it wasn't revenge, it was erasure. You turned their power into dust. You ripped their name from history and replaced it with a warning. A symbol, a presence, a permanent scar carved into the walls of every room they ever polluted. Now, people walk through those rooms and feel something missing.